We're also joined right now by attorney John Carro of Carro and Mitchell. Thank you very much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Now, Mr. Carro, you believe that there is a fundamental problem with the appeals process, especially in the cases of the death penalty. Explain.
Well, what it is it just goes on so long. This case, for instance, is a 1981 rape. It goes on and on and on, and depending on where you go, this has been to the California system, it's been to the Circuit Court of Appeals, it went back, they're now reversing themselves, it's going to go to the United States Supreme Court. There has to be some finality. There's also the victim, the victim's family.
Right.
You hear the word today, it's closure, closure. Everyone's looking for closure. There is no closure when it keeps going back and forth,
But in the case of Mr. Withall, you're right. I mean, doesn't there have to be a system?
Prosecution's point of view.
How do you deal with a very damning testimony or the vision of Jonathan Schmitz on the show? If you've seen this tape of the show, you know what I'm talking about. Being shown that Scott Amador, a man, was in fact a secret admirer. Jonathan Schmitz laughing and seeming to go along with it beautifully.
Well, going along with, you're on national TV, and who's to say how we're going to react when you're expecting a woman to come out and it's a man? You know, do you slug him right there, wrestle him to the ground, or do you just a nervous smile? He hugged him. You know, I'm sure he was not intending under any circumstance to hug the man on national TV. So I don't know if that's a telltale event. It's a damning picture, but who knows what's going on inside him, which is what the defense is trying to do with every one of these.
She was for all of this. A couple of things she did, and you and I were talking about it. What about her demeanor on the stand?
Well, she was, you know, she had displayed the proper emotion when talking about the trauma of the event, but I think what happened as the afternoon went on is she became a little flippant at times, a little cute at times. She was digressing, questioning the lawyer. Why is this? Why is that? The judge had to explain things to her. She referred to her lawyer as Bob. Well, I mean, there's a familiarity that you don't want when this is a trauma to her. Her case is about a trauma to her. There has to be a consistency with her testimony. For her to change the emotions just like that, you know, this is someone who once was in TV. Are jurors thinking that she's turning it on or off?
Well, we saw a lot of that certainly is true. John, it was a pleasure working with you. You know, this is your first time, but I'm sure it certainly won't be your last.
Why, thank you.
You commented at that point that the judge almost didn't let this trial, this case, get to the jury in the first place. Remind our viewers about that.
Right. At the end of the plaintiff's case, the defendants made motions, the plaintiffs, everyone makes motions at the end of each case to dismiss that under Georgia case law, this case should never have gone to the jury. And the judge quite honestly said that he had reservations about this case under existing Georgia case law, that he was concerned as to whether or not the causation issue should really go to the jury. And I think that, you know, if there was a finding against him, that might have been a motivating factor that there wouldn't be jail time in this instance.
What if, knowing